you get into this mindset of like, oh my gosh, this will never go away. My breasts are like gonna be tender and sore and messed up forever. So today is the first day I'm deciding to begin to wean the baby. He feeds about so I usually feed him 2 to 3 times. I pump usually in the morning. Not usually, I pump in the morning for about 10-ish minutes. I get 1.5 to 2 ounces of milk total.
Did you do this?
No. And I've been trying to wean him off the, after school 5-ish.
Mama, fix wrappers on.
Okay, thanks. 5-ish time. Nighttime is like the comfort, we kind of both depend on it. It's easier to put him to bed when he, goes to sleep. Yeah.
Can I have lunch now?
Go ahead.
Actually, I want lunch at 12:30.
Okay. So,
can I have grilled cheese for lunch at?
Yes. Yes, if you can make it yourself. So I'm going to try to cut down to 1 a day, basically at night. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't kill my boobs. I mean, it probably won't. Like right now, I didn't pump. Well, I feel some milk in there. So we'll see how it goes. I think it was easier to wean before because I was working full time and I would just get completely distracted. I mean, I'm still like working, but I'm at home, so it's a little bit easier to remember to pump because I have literally the pump sitting right here on my desk. And yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. So this is about a month later that I filmed that last clip that you just saw, and I of course did not finish this update, and I kind of I did want to finish this video. It's just this past several handful of weeks has just been, it feels like crazy. I don't know, it feels crazy, and it was busy and I was distracted and I had a lot of things going on. And anyway, so I didn't finish that video, but I do want to finish it now. And so I had decided to start weaning the baby, as I mentioned, a little bit after he turned 1 year old. The way I did it was I was pumping in the morning. I think I got it down to pumping in the morning, feeding him probably after I picked him up and gave him a bath, so around like 5 to 6, and then I fed him right before he went to sleep. So I was trying to get rid of it slowly, so I stopped. I was trying to cut down on the 5-ish, 5:30, 6 o'clock feed time. He wasn't even really drinking that much during that time anyway. So that was the first one I cut out. So then it was like 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And then the 1 in the morning I was pumping. So I eventually cut that out. And then I would feed at night. And that feed at night, like I said, it was just a comfort feed, both for him and for me. And it was also kind of like teaching him, well, not teaching him, but it was like he needed, I feel like, those extra calories. So when I finally got rid of the nighttime feed, I was, for about maybe a week or 2, I was struggling trying to figure out how to manage that last caloric intake. I would put him down and he would cry, and it was hard for me to know if he was crying because he wanted that feed, if he was crying because it was just a normal thing, he had to learn how to fall asleep on his own, or if he was crying because he was hungry because he didn't have that last feed. And several times I would let him cry, or I always let him cry, like when I initially put him down, if he is crying when I initially put him down. But I noticed that like if he cried for longer than 5 or 10 minutes, I would try to feed him. And there was like several times where I would give him a pack of food, like give him like one of those like baby packs, and then he was able to go to sleep. So I knew that there was like some transition between eliminating that nighttime feed, him needing additional calories, and then him needing those calories and then eventually getting him off of that, because it's not good for his teeth and it's not a good habit for him to be eating right before he goes to bed. I wanted him to eat dinner and have his fruit at after dinner, and then play a little bit, brush his teeth, get him ready for bed, and then put him to sleep. I didn't want to have him have dinner, do that nighttime routine, and then feed him a pack of food at like 9:30, maybe 10ish. Yeah, because I remember there was like a couple nights where it was like I kept wanting him to try to go to sleep, and then like 10:30 I would be like, maybe he's hungry, and I would give him a pack of food and he wouldn't go to sleep until 11. So that was really hard. So that happened probably for like maybe, I want to say 2, maybe 3 weeks. And eventually I got to working up to trying to give him more at dinner, try to get him really full at dinner. And we go to school really early, so I probably wake him up around 6:45. So what I also did was I, within the past maybe 2 weeks, I would think, I started putting him to bed earlier. So before, I would put the girls down to bed, and you know, we were going to bed later and later. I would put the girls down to bed, and then I would feed him, I would breastfeed him or whatever after. So that would be like 9:30ish. So his bedtime was really late. So as I had transitioned him, like weaned him, got him off of that relying on a packet of food at like 10ish, the past couple of weeks I have been trying to put him to bed earlier, and I think he needs it. I think it's good for him. I think he likes it that way. So now I kind of try to put him to bed around 8:30. So I put him to bed first, and then I start taking the girls to bed, which is really good, because then he, you know, if he's crying when I put him down, and he doesn't really cry that long, but he does sometimes cry when I put him down to bed at night. At least I can hear him when I'm like brushing the girls' teeth and things like that. Once I finish brushing the girls' teeth, he's pretty much sleeping by that point, and then I'm reading the girls a book. He's sleeping at that point, and then I pretty much go to bed right after I put the girls to bed. I might not go to sleep right away, but I will get into bed and kind of just relax and whatever, catch up on YouTube videos. What also I noticed as I was weaning him was there was still milk in my breast, and there was like, it wasn't dripping, but I could still feel like a lump of milk, and it did worry me a little bit. Sometimes I would have to express some of it to give the hardness some relief. It was like tender. There was like, you could feel a little pocket of milk around the nipple area, and like underneath, for example, and it was tender. It was like tender to the touch. Like it wasn't bad if I didn't touch it, but if I did happen to touch it or whatever, or sometimes if I was like carrying him and it was pressing up against my chest, there was tenderness, and that actually did last longer than expected. It lasted probably for a couple weeks at least. And with my first baby, because I'm talking about my third baby, with my first baby, she was half breastfed. She was half breastfed, half formula fed, because I didn't have enough milk. I think I could have had enough milk. I just didn't know how to breastfeed from the very beginning, and the hospital wasn't great at teaching me, and they kind of put her on half formula right away. Anyway, that's like a different story. So she kind of weaned around, or stopped wanting to breastfeed around 9 months, and I really wanted to make it to a year. My second baby, she was exclusively breastfed. I breastfed her past 1 year old, and she was like kind of getting big and stuff like that, and I think that was also a natural progression. So I don't remember this like milk still there / tenderness. Whereas this time around, I made a conscious decision shortly after he turned 1 year old to stop breastfeeding, and I tried to do it in kind of a short amount of time. So I think that's why that happened. So I recommend that if you are trying to wean your baby, do it in steps. Like I said, I was doing it 3 times. I cut out the middle. I was doing on both ends. I cut out one, I cut out the morning feed. I narrowed it down to once a day. And then I eventually got rid of the once a day. And when it was that nighttime feed, I would do one night, I would breastfeed him, one night I wouldn't, and then the next night I would breastfeed him. So just doing it really slowly and gradually, I think that is the best. And then when you do fully wean them, if you do still feel milk in there, you get into this mindset of like, oh my gosh, this will never go away. My breasts are like gonna be tender and sore and messed up forever. But just express some of it out. You don't have to pump all of it out, but expressing some of it out really helped because it just gave my breast, it gives your breast some relief. And eventually your body will absorb it and you will be as flat as can be. So yeah, that is how I weaned my 3rd baby, and he is doing great. He is drinking regular cow's milk 3 times a day, and he really had no problem. Well, I want to say he had no problem, but what I did notice was after it could be coincidental for sure, but he was sick actually, for several weeks ongoing after I stopped breastfeeding him, or like as I was weaning him and a little bit after, and it was like this ongoing, like he probably got hit with a ton of like viral and bacterial infections at school. He has been, knock on wood, a generally healthy baby. And I think being in a school, it is to be expected that he will be getting these other germs from these other kids. And yeah, that is something that is interesting. As I was weaning him and after, because it was kind of like this prolonged, like 4-week-ish, it feels like I went to the doctor so many times, kind of infection, and he would get like little red bumps, and the little red bumps was supposed to be indication of like a virus kind of clearing his system. So I didn't know if it was the swimming pool. It could have been the swimming pool, but I took him, after giving him a break for a couple of weeks from the swimming pool, I took him to the swimming pool last weekend, and he was fine. So it could have partially been the breastfeeding or weaning from the breastfeeding, or it could have just been regular school illness. But I do think that is a benefit of breastfeeding, that you give your antibodies, you pass your antibodies off to your baby, and I think for the most part, it keeps them generally healthy. And my babies, I think, have been generally healthy, and I think it's because I've tried my best to breastfeed them, and I think they reap those benefits. Anyway, so that is how I weaned my 3rd baby from breastfeeding, and some tips. And if you have tips or stories that you want to share about weaning your baby, please leave it in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you are not subscribed already. And I am always looking for video requests, or videos you'd like to see me make, or topics you'd like me to talk about. That would be greatly appreciated. And that's it. All of my links will be down below. I'm pretty much just on this platform, and I have kind of started to try to get back onto Facebook, but not too much, and I am on Instagram, so please follow me there. And yeah, I will see you in my next video. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. I love you. I'm gonna miss you so much on your first day. Have a good day, okay? Take a nap. Ah, look at what a cute guy you are.